Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist Barbecue. I'm Jeremy Yoder, and today I want to show you some new smokers that I have. We're going to do a walkthrough and see how they look. First up is the Fat Stack 120-gallon smokers. This is a backyard pit, but it's the larger of the two backyard pits that they make. They also make an 80-gallon pit that we're going to show you in a minute. Full disclosure, I did not buy these smokers. They were given to me by Fat Stack to test and evaluate. And I thought, well, twist my arm, make me test out backyard smokers. This is a lot of fun for me, and they looked awesome, so I said, absolutely, bring them on down. Also, it's important to know that if they sell 1 million of these smokers, I make $0. And if they sell 0 of these smokers, I make $0. I have no financial interest in whether these things succeed or fail. I just want to give you guys an honest opinion on how they work. Let's talk about some of the features of the smoker now. First, it's got a stack that I really like. They're called Fat Stack smokers for a reason. It's got a nice big diameter stack, and it's tall enough that it's going to draw air through really well. So that's going to do two things. It's going to help render the fat well, and also you're going to be providing plenty of oxygen to the fire so you can burn a clean fire and you're not constantly fighting with the smoker to draw enough air through. The next thing you'll notice is that the cook chamber is pretty big. So 120 gallons means probably about 6 briskets. I'm going to be testing that out in the future, but it's going to have lots of space for a backyard cook. Next, you're going to notice that there's a Tel-Tru thermometer. And Tel-Tru is the only analog thermometer I use anymore, so any other thermometers that were analog, I've replaced since then. They've never let me down. This one is located at grate level, which means that it's going to give you the temperature reading where the meat is actually sitting, which is very important because you don't want to read the temperature where the meat is not. The next feature is this little plug right here. And you might be wondering what it is. It's a digital probe port. So you screw that out, you can put your probes in there, and that way you can have constant readings of the temperature of both the inside of the smoker and the inside of the meat. Another aspect of the stack that I'm really happy about is that it has an adjustable damper. That means you can alter the airflow. So this thing draws well enough that there might be sometimes when you want to restrict the airflow a little bit, maybe to balance out temperatures in the smoker, maybe just to slow the whole fire down, to drop the temperature, but it gives you the option. Also, you can smother everything out at the end of a cook as well. The real issue for me with the damper is that I want to be able to have control of that. I don't want it to be just predetermined for me. So wide open, it's got plenty of draw, and so I have the option to reduce it if I want. I might not use it very often, but I like to know that it's there. The last aspect of the stack that I want to talk about is the collector right here. Now, I don't know exactly how much it influences the draw, but that's something I want to experiment with in the future. Either way, it looks cool, and I know that it works the way it's set up now. One thing I forgot about the stack is that these screws that hold it in place make it possible to remove the stack. So if you want to roll it into your garage and it wouldn't fit otherwise, you could take that off, roll it in, and then the next time you want to use it, you can set it back up again. Another thing you may notice is the folding grate in the front. This isn't going to be a workspace where you're trimming briskets and stuff like that, but this can hold a bottle of apple cider vinegar. It can hold, some rub if you want to use it. It can be a place where you rest any kind of leave-in probe. Usually they're magnetic, they can stick to this, or a towel or glove, or whatever you might need, little things that you don't want to put on the ground. So it's convenient, and then it also folds back up super easily. Might be a little loud though. One little feature you may not have noticed is this little guy. And for this one, I will take some measure of credit because I was talking to Eric, I don't know, it was maybe a couple of years ago, and I was saying that getting the water pans in and out of the smoker, I have burned myself so many times because it's running low on water, I need to add water, and so I have to take it out, put water in it, put it back in, and it just wasn't a good time. So I said, what if you put some kind of spout or something on the smoker that would feed water directly into the water pan? Well, guess what? These have it, and so I am very happy. I think I have enough scars on my arms as it is, so I love this feature, and I'm very proud of it. Let's take a look inside. All right, here we have 2 slide-out grates. Both the top and the bottom grate slide out. So if you don't need the top grate, you can remove it, and it just makes it easier to access all of the meat that you're cooking inside. If you need it, that gives you even more room inside this cooker to cook a lot of food. So for any kind of backyard purpose, I can't imagine needing to cook more food than this. And I just like the option of being able to do 6 briskets if I want to. Also, there's a built-in water pan holder. It's a 3rd hotel pan, and you can fill it up right here. You don't need to stop the cook. You don't need to risk burning yourself. Boom, there goes the water, and you can keep the whole cook chamber moist. Let's talk about the firebox. A few key details about this firebox. Number one is it is big. What does that mean? That means you can build a bigger fire and produce better flavor. Because if you have a small firebox, all those hot gases don't have a chance to cool off before they go into the cook chamber and they burn whatever's really close to the firebox. So what you have to do is build a smaller fire to compensate for that, and oftentimes with a smaller fire, you get less flavor. Next up, you get a door that locks completely. So if the cook is over, you want to smother out the fire, you don't want any chance of any coals escaping. If you're worried about, starting a fire accidentally, you can close this guy down, lock it in place, nothing is getting out of there. Also, you have these vents on the side. So this side and the back side, you can adjust these open or closed, just like that. You can run this pit with the door open, you can run it with the door cracked, you can have these open, these closed. You have all kinds of options to adjust airflow to make sure that the smoker is running the exact way that you want to. And then finally, the big thing about this firebox that makes it super, super cool is this flat top. And this thing can get very, very hot. So if you want to reverse sear a steak, you could smoke it in the cook chamber till it reaches whatever temp you want. You bring it out here and you sear it, and it is amazing. I actually tested this out. It is wonderful. I'm gonna do a video on that in the future, but just trust me when I say it's great. You could do bacon and eggs on here, all kinds of stuff. So there's no need for a griddle if you have one of these. Now this firebox has one important feature that you may not have guessed. The bottom is actually semi-insulated, which means that there's an air gap between where the fire sits and the bottom of the firebox itself. So that has the effect of maintaining the coals for longer so that the fire will run more easily. So if you have a backyard smoker, you've probably had this experience where it's time to put on another log and you go to put on another piece of wood, but the coals have burned down so much that it doesn't want to light the next piece of wood. This is designed to eliminate that problem and allow you to burn a clean fire consistently for the whole cook. That's the rundown for the 120. Now on to the next smoker. All right, this is the Fat Stack 80-gallon backyard smoker. Now the easy thing about this part of this video is that it has all of the same features that I just showed you in the 120. It just comes in a smaller package. So if you want a flat top, guess what? It's got it. If you want the probe port, it's got it. If you want a damper on the stack, it's got it. If you want a stack appropriately sized for the size of the cook chamber, it's got that. If you want a semi-insulated bottom of your firebox, if you want all those features, the 80 is the smaller version of the 120, and therefore the capacity is also going to be smaller. So it's just about what's right for you if you're choosing between these two. This one can cook probably 3 or 4 briskets at a time, which is still really, really good capacity for a backyard smoker, but it's not going to take up the same footprint as the 120. The only difference I can find is that for the 80, the bottom grate isn't slide out. You can still remove them and clean them and do whatever you need to, but they don't slide out. You have to pick them up and remove them. The top grate is slide out, and so overall, it's just extremely similar in design. So what you guys can do for me is tell me what you want me to cook on these things. And I'll tell you what I've already done and what I'm planning to do, and I'd like to hear you chime in the comments about what you want to see. So what I've already done is I cooked a brisket on the 120 and I was very pleased with the results. But I'm also planning in the future to do a brisket on the 80, one on the 120, and one on the Franklin smoker and compare them at the end. Anything else you guys want to see, please let me know and I'll do my best to make it happen. If you guys are interested in one of these pits, I'll put Fat Stack Smoker's contact information on the screen here, and you can contact them and ask about them. I don't know what the actual production price is, but I know that there's a substantial discount for the first 200 people who place pre-orders. And so we're gonna get into some comparisons here in some future videos. But for now, that's my initial impression. Let me know in the comments if you want me to answer anything specifically, but I will do a full review on both of these in the future. Thank you guys for watching Mad Scientist Barbecue. If you enjoyed the video, if you find it helpful, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Mad Scientist Barbecue. I'll see you guys next time. The next thing you're gonna notice is the actual cook chamber is pretty big for an offset, okay. You know, Eric says if something's worth building, it's worth overbuilding. What does that mean? That means you can buy a few key details.